Good evening and welcome back to From Day 1, 41.2 being the episode. As always, we'll go ahead and hit the proverbial mailbag first, see what we've... I figured we'd go a little bit back to the past. Before we had First Amendment auditors, before we had sovereign citizens, and before we had people at least taping bloody Karens, we had the original kooks. Those who thought the earth was flat. Yes, as a pancake, flat. Circular disc, toss it in the air, flat, flat, flat. So tonight we are going to go ahead and have some fun reliving some of their beliefs, quote unquote, and more importantly, laughing the holy living shit out of them. Our first victim, if we may say, is somebody who goes by the name of J.M. Truth, a reported physicist of all things. However, I don't think we have to worry too much about the brain power of this, let's just call it Rhodes Scholar, as he doesn't know the difference between negative numbers and negative exponents. When cited in a debate and told that something was 2.8 times 10 to the negative 22nd, he thought that meant it was a negative number instead of just a small decimal. So I don't think we really have too terribly much of a problem that we have to deal with this moron. But since we're here, Jam, you want to speak?
Shalom, my friends. Yes, I am sitting in a graduation cap and gown.
Okay, so I'm going to make a prediction and predict that JM Truth TV is going to suggest that because he has a, and I'm going to use my serious air quotes here, a Master's of Science degree, that he is somehow qualified to speak on these topics, when in reality, his Master's of Science degree came from an online university and involved no real science at all. JM Truth, you are a fucking idiot.
Ding!
Today I thought I'd have some fun. I'm going to get involved as a graduate on this paradigm of the flat earth, round earth, and put myself out in front of you.
What did I say? This idiot couldn't go 30 seconds into his video without mentioning his graduate degree as if it's a crutch that gives him some kind of legitimacy in a scientific conversation.
But today, I'm going to give a very special block of instruction. And I'm going to destroy gravity.
So you're going to destroy gravity, huh?
Oh,
Well, I'm going to destroy you. Because JM Truth, you are a fucking idiot.
Ding!
Because gravity, in fact, doesn't exist.
Wait. I got this one, Skeptic. I'll let you speak in a moment. Wait. Gravity doesn't exist? If gravity doesn't exist, what, pray tell, does this? That, by the way, is the sound of tonight's sponsored but not sponsored drink of the night, Goya's pineapple soda. Goya, you listening? Hit me up. I know you make more than just pineapple. And I'll be drinking it during the night. I'll let you know, good, bad, indifferent, but seriously, hit me up. Alright, back to the fight, and back to the JM Truth. I'm sorry, Father Skeptic, you wanted to speak?
Gravity didn't exist. Then why do all objects fall to the ground when they're dropped? I mean, Desert File knows. Hey, Desert File, can you explain to JM Truthless why...
Warning, if you're listening on headset, you may want to take them out for the next 5 seconds.
all objects fall to the ground when they're dropped?
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity!
J.M. Truth, you are an idiot.
All right, you can put him back in.
Despite what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, despite what Mortimer 81 says and others, but I would have you know that gravity is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Sorry, it's skeptic, but wait a minute. Run that tape back a second. Yeah, he did. Oh, fuck! He took a drumstick, wrapped it in blue masking tape that you would do for like painting walls, and he's using it as a fucking wand. Oh, way to sell that you got a scientific degree, man. Really, really, really way to sell that. Use a drumstick wrapped in painter's masking tape. Way to sell. Now, I'm sorry, Skeptic, you wanted to go ahead and trash this moron too?
Oh my God, you're such an idiot. You do realize that the only thing that's ridiculous is you waving around that upside down drumstick as if it's magically going to make gravity disappear. The least you could have done is gone to the toy store and got a real magic wand.
So today, we are going to look at gravity, because it is ridiculous.
Oh, fuck.
Every time J.M. Truth says that gravity is ridiculous and waves his magic drumstick around, I'm not going to take time to stop the video. I'm just going to ring the dinger and increase the idiot count by 1.
Thank you.
And I'm going to prove how ridiculous
Ding!
it is. I may also destroy Harry Potter in the process. That is a unfortunate casualty of the stupidity of gravity.
Harry Potter doesn't exist, so it would be impossible for you to destroy him, you idiot. Gravity, on the other hand, does exist. So until you can jump off of your trailer without falling to the ground, your broken legs will be the casualty of gravity.
Because gravity is ridiculous.
Ding!
So with that having been said, let us take a look at gravity. Or should I say, because gravity is ridiculous.
For somebody who has a degree in filmmaking, your video editing skills suck. I mean, why ruin that perfectly good character morph with an absolutely horrendous video transition? These are basic concepts that any professional filmmaker should understand, and yet your videos are full of these types of mistakes. I think it's safe to assume that your filmmaking skills are about as proficient as your math and science skills, because J.M. Truth,
You are ridiculous.
Okay, folks. So first, we're going to take a look at how do we establish things. First, it's through scientific method. And I hear all kinds of people talking about all kinds of things about the scientific method.
All right, let's hear how you fuck this one up.
There is only one scientific method, and this is how you test to see if something is in fact true using the scientific method.
First off, there isn't just one scientific method. Versions of the scientific method have been traced back in history all the way to around 1600 BCE and have evolved into what we consider today to be the modern scientific method proposed by Roger Bacon, which employs a repetitive cycle of observation, hypothesis, experimentation, and most importantly, independent verification.
Now, see, I would actually have given J.M. Truth credit if he would actually have said the Bacon method. I know there's more than one, but I would have even given him credit for that.
For peer review, J.M. Truth, you're an idiot.
Before I go on, let's examine something called mass, density, and buoyancy.
Mass, density, buoyancy, a good job, and an education. 5 things flat earth idiots will never get.
Before gravity, before Newton, there was mass, density, and buoyancy. Mass was responsible not only for the quantity of matter, but also for how hard something fell to the earth. Here in this journal, it says mass is related to how hard objects are attracted to the earth. That's funny. I thought gravity did that.
JM Truth, you're an idiot.
Ding.
Gravity just provides acceleration and is based on the mass of the Earth and the distance an object is from the center of the Earth. This gives us A in the equation F equals ma. So now that we have the acceleration, we can say that the force that an object is pulled to the surface of the Earth is proportional to the mass of that object. So that if we have two objects, one being twice as heavy as the other, the object that's twice as heavy will be pulled to the surface with twice as much force than the object that's half as heavy.
However, now some people say, mass gravity. Folks, mass was first the explanation of how hard things fell to the earth. Gravity came later. In fact, gravity didn't appear, like I said, until Newton, and Newton wrote about it. And if you look back through the annals of time, Newton was an Illuminati. That's not in question, folks.
What the fuck? Does you trying to besmirch a guy's name being part of the Illuminati have anything to do with actual realizations that actually really happen on the actual fucking earth? Actually. That'd be like me saying, sir, you can't be a brain because, well, you actually are fucking stupid. Seriously.
The anvils of time? I think you mean the annals of time.
Oh, damn it, you missed that one. God damn it. Alright, ding him for it.
Absolute fucking idiot. And whether Newton was part of the Illuminati or not is irrelevant. If the science is wrong, then you should be able to prove it through experimentation.
Okay, so mass was used to define how much matter was in an object and how, in fact, it was attracted to the earth. Not gravity, mass.
Yeah, all of that is wrong. First, if we're going to speak in scientific terms, mass is defined as the total amount of energy in a system. And this includes particles like gluons, which aren't really made of material, but are almost pure energy. Second, mass does not define how it is attracted to other mass. That's general relativity. And mass is only part of that equation. Not to mention, it has been proven that light bends around massive celestial objects, while photons have no mass themselves.
Okay, density was in fact how tightly those atoms were packed together. So, for example, a solid bowling ball is more dense than foam, which a bowling ball would sink in water. Foam will float on the top. Okay? Why? Because the foam is far less dense than a bowling ball. Okay?
JM Truth, you're such a simpleton. The bowling ball sinks because the bowling ball is more dense than the water. The foam ball floats because the foam ball is less dense than the water. The question you should be asking yourself is, if the foam ball is less dense than the water, then when it sits on the surface, why does it sink ever so slightly? I mean, the density of the water is the same at the surface as it is below the surface, but yet it still semi-submerges. Desert File, would you like to take a shot at this?
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity!
Sorry about that, headphone users. By the way, keep them out for one more second.
Gravity!
Okay, you can put them back in.
In truth, you are a fucking idiot. Now, buoyancy is the force that causes an object to float, either in the air or in the water. And there are some who would even argue that air has a lot of water in it and is in fact a liquid.
Wow. You really are stupid. Wow. Air is not a liquid. It's a gas that's fluid. And the water that's in the air is in the form of water vapor, which is not the same as liquid water, you absolute idiot.
Fucktard.
Now, I'm not going to argue that. I'm simply making the point that buoyancy is responsible for the things that go up and float, either in air, as I mentioned before, or in the water, and density was the force related to something falling to the ground or sinking, one of those two. Okay?
You want us to take you and your science degree seriously, and then you say something stupid like density is a force. It makes me wonder how many decades it took you to learn how to tie your shoes. J.M. Truth, you're an idiot.
And here we can see...
Skeptic, he still doesn't tie his shoes. He uses Velcro. Alright, back to the idiot.
Now here on this that you're looking at, it says mass is related to an object's inertia, but it is also related to how hard objects are attracted to the Earth. Now, if you go on, it also says better minds than ours have been confused over the meaning of the concept mass, and even today, better minds than ours contemplate what mass really means. Now,
you want to be truthful with the individuals before you start to go make your story of the House of Cards here? The article comes from a kindergarten textbook. Do you really... Oh, fuck, who am I talking about? Yeah, of course you do. Alright, you want to go and take an elementary school textbook and make it your whole thesis? Have at it.
I'm not going to go into all that mumbo-jumbo.
Of course you don't want to discuss the science mumbo-jumbo. I wouldn't want to discuss it either if I was completely oblivious to the topics. But this is probably because you don't understand what is being said, or you can't refute the claims that are being made. Or maybe the reading comprehension is above the single-digit numbers that are taught in American pre-kindergarten classes.
What I am going to show you is that the powers that be are laying things in front of you to suggest to you that there are people out there that have better minds than yours. This is what we call suggestive programming, folks. Better minds than ours, and it's stated twice. Better minds than ours, again, it is suggestive programming, and in essence says your mind isn't as good as this one over here, and this person's better than you. Folks, that is complete hogwash.
And this is what we call intellectual hubris, which is a key component in the Dunning-Kruger effect, because I have personally seen greater minds in brain-dead dog shit than in J.M. Truth and his merry band of flat earth idiots. But to address the point, there are people out there who just get it, J.M. This is why not everybody is capable of being a doctor or a scientist. Those jobs are typically reserved for people who have higher brain power than a discount garden gnome.
Okay? You've been programmed to think negatively about yourself. Okay?
Hey, wait a minute. I like discount garden gnomes.
Just wanted to add that in there. That's my little 2 cents.
Nobody cares about your 2 times 10 to the negative $2 worth of information. In truth, you're an idiot.
Now, that having been said, there are in fact people like Neil deGrasse Tyson who, if you ask him what gravity is, responds like this. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that he has no answer for gravity, and he can't give mass as an answer because mass is already spoken for.
Mass is already spoken for? What does that even mean? Because mass is simply a property of an object, and we can use that property in different mathematical equations to describe how that object will behave in reality. For instance, the equation F equals ma describes how much force is necessary to get an object of a certain mass to accelerate at a particular rate. And then there's the kinetic force equation, 1/2 mv squared. And let's not forget Newton's law of gravitational attraction, F equals big G m1 m2 over r squared. So mass isn't spoken for, but J.M. Truth is...
You are an idiot. Oh.
And so gravity is this magical force that Neil deGrasse Tyson likes to take a microphone and drop it to the floor. Mortimer 81 likes to take a pencil and drop it, call you a name while he's telling you that's gravity.
Me, I drop a nice 2-liter bottle of Goya pineapple soda. Again, not sponsored, but Goya. Call me. Oh, sorry, James Troop, you were being an idiot.
Yeah, I can admit, I really miss Mortimer81 calling you guys names, so I dug this gem up for the viewer's delight, and especially for you, JM.
Oh, you got one for us?
You're an idiot.
Thank you.
If that's not gravity, science has already indicated that mass is responsible for that phenomenon. So, folks, I'm going to present you with more information here on this journal called Gravity Its Own Theory, and it's a library resource, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I had to laugh there. Oh, it's a library resource. Like that makes any fucking difference in the universe. I could go to the library and get 50 Shades of Grey. That technically then becomes a library resource. I don't think anybody's going to be using that, though, as a way to balance a thesis, however. But yeah, you go ahead and balance yourself on library resource. By the way, everyone uses the internet now. Are those still open? Libraries, that is.
Okay, so I'm not going to ruin the joke about the article that JM Truth just cited, but I am going to say that a library resource is nothing more than a source of information that you would typically find in a library. For instance, if I wanted to write a book on Norse mythology, then that book would become a library resource for anybody studying Norse mythology, but it doesn't mean that Odin and Asgard actually exist.
It says universal gravity is a theory, not a fact. Well, let's read that again.
Universal gravitation is a law, not a theory, you idiot. But don't let me stop you from saying something stupid.
Universal gravity is a theory, not a fact.
Universal gravitation is a law, not a theory, you idiot.
Let him continue.
Read that again, just one more time. Just for those of you who missed it the first 2 times. Okay, folks, here it says universal gravity is a theory, not a fact. Regarding the natural law of attraction, this material should be approached with an open mind, studied carefully, and critically considered.
Okay, so let's start by taking a
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, no, I want to do this one. Seriously. Let's take an honest, legitimate, critical look at your material then. Because that, for some reason, sounds very, 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 very fishy. Kind of like something I would expect to see maybe out of an Onion article. You know, The Onion. The fictional paper that makes all fictional funny articles look like real news articles, but are so hilariously stupid and out there that they definitely can't be real. Unfortunately, no, this one is not an Onion article, but it is done by a group that's doing the same kind of thing as an Onion article. And even states so at the top of the article before the first paragraph. In other words, they don't think their people were smart enough to realize that, hey, we're just making a goof on this. And this moron, James Roof, is reading it as law and everything. Oh, dear God. But I think you were going to make that point, Mr. Skeptic Boy.
critical look at the article that you just cited. It comes from the website ncsc.com, or the National Center for Science Education. That's funny because most websites from actual accredited educational sources typically end with .edu, not .com. But besides that, let's focus on the very opening statement of the article. It reads, "This satirical look at only a theory." Satirical, JM. Do you even know what that word means? Let's assume that you don't. A satire is a work of art that is meant to humor the people who are engaging with it. In other words, it's a fucking joke, JM, not meant to be taken seriously. God, you are such a moron. But let's continue with the article. Disclaimers imagines what might happen if advocates applied the same logic to the theory of gravitation that they do to the theory of evolution. First off, this joke of an article can't be taken seriously, as they too refer to it as the theory of gravitational attraction and not the law of universal gravitation. Apparently, they are just as stupid as J.M. Truth, and trying to reconcile the law of gravitational attraction with the theory of natural selection is like trying to say that an apple is not an apple because it doesn't meet the criteria to be a donkey. J.M. Truth.
Yeehaw!
The fact that this article admits that it is a satire and you are presenting it as factual is only proof that you are a fucking idiot.
Ding!
Now, folks, you've been taught not to use your senses, to not trust your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth. And we've been taught to ignore our senses for the magic of NASA.
Wait, this is coming from the guy who's wearing birth control glasses because his sense of sight is just so great. There is a reason why using only your senses to make scientific observations is pretty fucking stupid. Real science is done with specific instrumentation that's designed to measure these phenomenon properly. J.M. Truth, you are a blind, science-denying idiot, and it doesn't take glasses and the scientific method to observe that.
This is, first of all, no one has measured gravity for every atom and every star. That is a true fact. It is simply a religious belief that is, in fact, universal.
You can't measure the gravity of a single object. You need two masses and a distance between the two masses to get a gravitational force. And why would we need to measure the gravitational influence of every particle in the universe? Have we measured every red beam of light to ensure that the wavelength is between 635 and 700 nanometers? No, we haven't. But we don't need to. We understand light well enough to know that those wavelengths correspond to red light, just as we can calculate the gravitational attraction given two masses and a distance between the two masses.
Unfortunately, it is clearly admitted that gravity is not a fact. Yet it is written in every science book, in every school, in every district, in every state, in every country, in every nation around the world. At what point do we stand up and say enough's enough?
You just can't present a satirical internet article and claim that it is scientifically accurate. That's like me pulling out the Sunday comics to learn quantum physics. And I would suggest that flat earthers stand up and say enough is enough when they're tired of being homeless, jobless, and estranged from their families, all because they want to believe in some childish fairy tale. But they also have to recognize that they're in that position. And unfortunately for flat earthers, they never admit they're wrong. But unfortunately for flat earthers, they're all fucking idiots.
The universal theory of gravity is often taught in schools as a fact, when it is in fact not even a good theory.
It's not a good theory because it's not a fucking theory. It's a goddamn scientific law, you fucking idiot.
Folks, I would also encourage you to look into the argument of what they call the firmament or the ether. The argument of whether the ether exists or it doesn't exist.
Hold on. Even fellow flat earth idiots will argue with you on this one that the ether and the firmament are two completely different things. The ether is the proposed medium in which scientists used to believe light propagated through, while the firmament is the supposed dome over our head that a bearded sky wizard puts his smelly feet on at the end of each day. And according to every science experiment ever designed to test for the ether, it doesn't fucking exist. So the ether is about as real as the flat earth, which is about as real as the firmament, which is about as real as golden monkey farts and pink elephant kisses.
The Bible calls it the firmament and says it is a hard dome of molten metal or molten glass, depending on who you ask. Glass is simply a crystal. Metal that can also be considered the same.
Oh my god. J.M. Truth, listen to your flawed logic. If there was a firmament above our heads, which was made from either molten glass or molten metal, which are both fluid and denser than the air beneath it, why then are we not bombarded with pieces of the firmament dripping down onto the surface of the earth all the time? I know, because there is no firmament above our heads, especially one that's molten, and J.M. Truth is a bona fide idiot.
Okay? So, with that having been said, I would suggest, if people want to argue about science and use science as its method of, then let us use real science and not foolishness like dropping pens and microphones and calling it this or that.
Oh, I get it. You mean real science, like quoting the Bible and proclaiming it as real without a single piece of evidence to support your claim. Or saying that there's a dome over our head when no human in the history of mankind has ever seen or touched a dome. Or saying that there is an ether when scientifically the ether has been disproven beyond any doubt. Flat earthers, like J.M. Truth, are walking contradictions whose definitions and standards of acceptance are heavily biased towards their own personal belief system. But flat earthers, like J.M. Truth, are fucking idiots.
Okay? Just because Neil deGrasse Tyson has a degree in something called astrophysics.
Oh, please tell me you're not going to go there, JM. Please tell me you're not going to try to believe that that's supposed to be astrology. Please tell me you're not that dumb. For the love of fuck. You've shown you're quite stupid, but please tell me you're not that dumb.
When most of you can't even probably contemplate what that means. I don't even contemplate what that means, because that would imply that there's a different law of physics for the astrology or the astrological world.
J.M. Truth, you are an idiot.
And yes, you did go there. Oh, dear God. I'm sorry, I'm verklempt on how stupid he is. Skeptic man, would you please?
Because astrophysicists don't study astrology. They study astrophysics, which are the physics behind the celestial objects, whereas astrology is the study of how the position of celestial objects affects our daily life, like tarot cards, palm readings, and horoscopes. See, I bet you didn't even know the difference between the two. One being an actual science, astrophysics, and the other being a pseudoscientific scam, astrology. So I think this is going to be where we end the video today.
Oh, we don't have any more JM stupid? Okay, I guess we don't. Alright. Well, let me find another one as we still got time left in the hour as we continue to work on getting these heroes up. The next step would be, of course, to get to orange. Oh, we do have more JM Stupid. Yeah, that's the new name I'm going to give him. Just JM Stupid. He ain't even worth truth anymore. JM Stupid. Really? I'm just looking at the title on this one. Oh, dear God. Okay. If he really wants to go there. Can't believe he really wants to go there, but James Drift, if you really want to, we'll give you a second bite of the apple. Alright, start your stupidity. Now.
Shalom, my friends.
Shalom, JM.
My name is Joshua Michael, and I'd like to welcome you to jamtruth.com. This is the Science 100 series. This class is Science 103 on gas pressure.
Wait, you're now actually making your stupidity actually act like it's a class? Can I just audit it? I'm definitely not going to pay for your class. Alright, let's continue.
And I've subtitled this class, Where Did the Universe Go? Because by the end of the class, I'm going to reveal to you that you don't live where you think you do.
Wait. I don't live on planet Earth, in the universe, and this show ain't going out to anybody because, well, there isn't anybody? Jam Truth, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say up front you're an idiot. Dang!
And that question, where did the universe go, is going to be answered by the end of this class.
I'm pretty positive that you don't understand how stupid that statement is. We live inside the universe, so asking where it has gone is like asking where your car has gone while driving your car. JM Truth, you're an idiot.
So let's get started. First, we're told by mainstream science that we live on a globe, that there's an atmosphere, and on just beyond that atmosphere, there's a vacuum of space and stars and the sun and all this stuff. So with the beginning of the scientific method, you must first start with a question. So here's the question. How do you have a gas pressure, also known as atmospheric pressure, without a container to begin with?
No. You do not get to go ahead and automatically set yourself up with a lie. Why it's a lie, I'll let Mr. Skeptic, if you'd be so kind, explain.
So begins the lack of any true scientific knowledge, because gas pressure is not the same thing as atmospheric pressure, you idiot. Yes, they share the same word pressure, which is the force per unit area. However, gas pressure is generated from gas molecules smashing up against the walls of the container, whereas the atmospheric pressure is generated from the weight of all the molecules above you pressing down on you.
Folks, I think this is the basis of our understanding, the basis of this course and this class, and we need to really look at this question because we're going to really dive deep into this particular question. So let's bring the board on. So here's the question. How do you have a gas pressure, also known as atmospheric pressure, without a container to begin with?
Again, gas pressure is not the same as atmospheric pressure, but JM Truth is the same as an idiot. Gas pressure requires a container because the force that we're measuring is generated from the gas molecules on the inside colliding with the walls of the container. Atmospheric pressure, on the other hand, is generated from the weight of the entire atmosphere above you. So at the surface, you will have a higher atmospheric pressure than you would at the top of a mountain, but only because you have more atmosphere above you at the surface than you do at the top of a mountain.
Folks, in order to start the process, we first need to define gas pressure. So let's start with the definition of gas pressure. The pressure of a gas is the force that gas exerts on the walls of its container. Okay, that's from chemistryelmhurst.edu. Let's read that again. The pressure of a gas is the force that gas exerts on the walls of its container.
Dude, stop! Pick up your trash. You do not get to take the pages of your bullshit so-called course and fling it in the middle of that nice grassy field there. Stop being a litter bug and pick up your fucking paper.
If you want people to believe you and take you seriously, you probably shouldn't be just throwing your trash everywhere, littering like a piece of shit idiot.
To have a gas pressure, it must have a container to begin with. It must be contained within walls in a sealed container. Folks, that's the very definition of gas pressure.
So now let's define atmospheric pressure, which is the pressure generated from the weight of the atmosphere above you. Completely different than gas pressure and requires no container. You see, JM, you can't just use one definition to describe everything, especially things that are completely different. You're an idiot.
Bear with me for a minute, folks. Let's look at this. If I remove either of these conditions, either the collision of molecules or the walls of the container, do I have a gas pressure? No!
Right. But as I've said before, and will probably say many times in this video, gas pressure is not the same thing as atmospheric pressure. In gas pressure, the density of the gas inside of the container is essentially the same from the top to the bottom. In atmospheric pressure, the pressure is greatest near the surface and decreases as you go up in elevation. And this is because as you go up in elevation, you decrease the amount of atmospheric mass on top of you being pulled down. Picture this. Let's say that we have 10 sumo wrestlers laying down stacked on top of each other.
Oh, that'd be pretty hard.
Where could you insert yourself so that you felt the greatest amount of pressure?
Nowhere.
Well,
I don't want
You could
to.
slide yourself between the ground and the sumo wrestlers, and then you would feel the pressure of 10 sumo wrestlers being pulled down on top of you. Now what would happen if we inserted ourselves between the first and second sumo wrestlers? Well, now we only have the pressure of one sumo wrestler being pulled down on top of us.
Pressure is proportional to the number of molecular collisions and the force of those collisions in the particular area. Okay? Without the walls of a container, there can be no pressure.
Oh my God, you're such an idiot. Pressure does not require a container. Only a particular type of pressure, and for a very good reason. The gas molecules needed for gas pressure are in constant motion, so without a container to contain them, they would just get further and further away from each other. And in this scenario, there would be no gas pressure.
It's like having an atmosphere and a vacuum in the same place. It's an oxymoron, folks. You can't have it.
You gotta
Is it
love
you?
when a flat earth idiot turns to an oxymoron for help in exemplifying his stupidity. Of course you can't have an atmosphere and a vacuum in the same place. By definition, they're mutually exclusive. If you have a vacuum, then there is no atmosphere. And if you have an atmosphere, then it's not a vacuum.
Anyway, let's look at another definition. A gas is a sample of matter that conforms to the shape of its container in which it is held and acquires a uniform density inside the container, meaning it equalizes, folks.
Did you say a uniform density? We'll remember that you said that later in this video.
Even in the presence of gravity, and regardless of the amount of substance in the container. So regardless of whether you believe gravity or not, you still must have a container. Okay? It doesn't matter.
Fairy tale, JM. Fairy tale. Like the tail on the back of a horse, and not the tale that you tell people when discussing your scientific qualifications. You are a fucking idiot.
If not confined to a container, gaseous matter, known as vapor, will disperse into space. Let's read that again. If not confined to a container, gaseous matter, known as vapor, will disperse into space. Folks, it's called increasing entropy. It's called the entropic force. It's the second law of thermodynamics.
No, it's not, you idiot. And I'm tired of flat earthers misrepresenting the second law of thermodynamics, which states that entropy will increase over time in an isolated system. The Earth's atmospheric model is not an isolated system, as it takes in energy from the sun. Therefore, the second law of thermodynamics does not properly apply. Besides, if the gas molecules were cold enough, then they wouldn't have enough energy to escape the Earth's gravitational pull, especially the heavier elements like nitrogen, oxygen, and argon.
The term gas is also used in reference to the state or condition of matter having this property. Let's look at another one. The atoms and molecules in gases are much more spread out than in solids or liquids, meaning they vibrate and move freely and at high speeds. A gas will fill any container, but if the container is not sealed, the gas will escape. That's from sciencelearn.org. Okay, let's look at another one. Gases behave differently from the other two commonly states of matter, solids and liquids. So we have different methods of treating and understanding how gases behave under certain conditions. Gases, unlike, big word there.
Oh, James, did you really just say that unlike?
Yeah, he said the word unlike
You
is
really
a
are an
big
idiot.
word.
Solids or liquids have neither fixed volume or shape. They are molded entirely by the container in which they are held. And that's from the University of North Carolina. Can anyone see where I'm going with this? Anyone?
Oh, I can. Looks to me like you're sprinting as fast as you can down Idiot Avenue on your way to Stupid Street before ending your journey as the winner of the 2019 Dumbfuck of the Year Award. Sponsored by Red's Rhetoric.
Going once? Going twice? No? Well, let's move on. So this is from our friends at NASA, folks. The molecules are
Wait,
in
wait,
constant
wait,
random motion
shut
and
up!
frequently collide with each other, and
Thank you.
the walls of the container, because molecules are in motion and gas will expand to fill the container. Since density is defined to be the mass divided by volume, density depends directly on the size of the container in which the fixed mass of gas is confined. And that's from our friends at NASA. Of course, someone's going to say, but Josh, you don't believe what NASA says. Technically, that's true. Most of what NASA presents us I have found to be pseudoscience and not correct.
So in your opinion, it's perfectly acceptable to accept evidence from an unreliable source like NASA because they agree with you in this instance. Seems a bit hypocritical and disingenuous, especially given the number of times that you've personally said that NASA lies to us and deceives us to take our money. I guess they're completely legitimate when they aren't disagreeing with you. But JM Truth, you're an idiot.
However, in this particular instance, according to what they put out as far as gas and gas pressure is concerned, they are correct in regards to a genuine.
Oh, now you want to shut up, damn true. It's going to call out your NASA bullshit, but well, Team Skeptic already got it for me. And dude, you're just... Why? Seriously, for the love of fuck, why? How can someone be this stupid, this anal retentive, this backtracking upon themselves, and yet not realize it? By the way, as we do our new chapter 9 of the campaign here, we will have a little secret to show, and we'll probably do it either at the end of this one or maybe part 3, but we'll do it sometime today. So where you can get a free prize from this chapter 9. Alright, I think we're back in full control, so Jandrew, if you want to continue to be an idiot, continue.
Science is already established.
Wow, you really are clueless as to how far you're sticking your own foot in your own ass. So now, not only is NASA an acceptable and reputable source of information, but so is the scientific consensus? Keep in mind, JM, the scientific consensus says that space exists and that the sun is 93 million miles away. Do you also accept those facts, or do you just accept the
I'll answer this one. He only accepts whatever he thinks
facts
will
that
help him.
support your dumbass beliefs? JM Truth, you're a hypocrite and an idiot.
Is that a hippo idiot?
Okay, so I've just given you 7 different scientific citations, all 7 of which specifically mention a container. In fact, the word container appears 14 times with 7
Goddamn, you can't even spit it out in English. You're looking for the words 14 times.
citations.
And of those 7 definitions, pretty much just you repeating yourself over and over. How many times did you define atmospheric pressure? None. Because atmospheric pressure and gas pressure are completely different, and you're too much of an idiot to understand why.
I don't know. It's probably just a coincidence. In fact, the word container isn't even all. We probably can just throw it out, right? So,
Goddamn, even my computer is starting to get pissed off of listening to your shit.
gas pressure is specifically defined by the container and the walls in which it's held.
I don't know, JM. It's probably just a coincidence that you're conflating atmospheric pressure with gas pressure, and you're not actually trying to apply the definition of one to both of them. I mean, it must be that, because it couldn't be that you just don't know what you're talking about and you're a total idiot, right?
I'll go with that one.
Now, I didn't actually see this until Quantum Eraser on YouTube pointed out.
JM Truth, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, But Quantum Eraser is an even bigger idiot than you are.
And then I don't know whether it's just you opened my eyes to it or what, but now I see it everywhere. And everybody is yelling gas pressure gradient in an attempt to explain away the needing of a barrier between Earth's atmosphere and space.
Oh my God, you're such a simpleton. The gas pressure gradient doesn't explain away the need for a barrier so that gas pressure can be present, but it does show that no barrier exists. Remember earlier in the video when I said we should remember what JM said? Here, I'll play it for you.
Rewind it.
A gas is a sample of matter that conforms to the shape of its container in which it is held and acquires a uniform density inside the container.
According to JM Truth and his source, for gas pressure to be present, there must be a uniform density throughout the entire gas. In JM's own words,
meaning it equalizes, folks.
But what do we see everywhere we look, JM?
Gas pressure gradient.
Therefore, it isn't gas pressure you're talking about. It's atmospheric pressure, and atmospheric pressure doesn't need a container. JM Truth, you are an idiot.
So this is the problem when people use a term out of context and try to use it to explain something they really don't understand.
That's the pot calling the kettle black. This reminds me of that time where you referred to yourself as a physicist and research scientist when you have no fucking clue what a physicist actually is.
I'm not going to speak for Nathan. I am a physicist that does experiments and lots of them. There is no, and a research scientist.
JM Truth, you're not a physicist, you're an idiot.
So people are yelling gas pressure gradient, gas pressure gradient. Okay? So let's see here. Answer this question. What comes first? Gas pressure or gas pressure gradient?
God damn it, JM. Stop littering, you idiot. But to answer your question, you cannot have a gas pressure gradient without any gas pressure to begin with. And in an isolated system, once the gases have reached a state of equilibrium, you can have gas pressure without a gas pressure gradient. Therefore, gas pressure comes first, but that was a dumbass question to begin with.
First, answer this question. How do you have a gas pressure, also known as atmospheric pressure, without a container to begin with?
As I've already stated several times in this video, gas pressure is not the same as atmospheric pressure. JM Truth,
You're an idiot.
Not pressure, not water pressure. Gas pressure, okay? Because you can't compare water pressure to gas pressure. That's called a false equivalency fallacy. What does that mean?
Well, I would assume that it means the same thing as comparing atmospheric pressure to gas pressure. It's a false equivalency, and you're an idiot.
It means you're using two separate states of matter or two completely separate things to try to compare one to another. It'd be like comparing cows and apples. You know, it makes no sense.
Then why would you think that comparing atmospheric pressure to gas pressure is the same thing? Unless you aren't educated enough to know the difference. But it's too late to go back on all the stupid shit you've already said that made you look like a total fucking idiot.
Okay, let's look at why for a minute, okay? Why? So the question is why. Even though liquids, like water, and gases are arbitrarily classified as fluids, liquids are not gases. Okay? And number two, water pressure still requires a container. Look at oceans, folks. Okay? You have the bottom and you have the walls, and it contains the ocean. Then there's no ceiling. The difference is water does not have to be in a sealed container, and there's a reason for that. Okay? However, it does not have to be in a sealed container because water is made of H2O molecules that have intermolecular bonds, i.e. they do not move freely and at high speeds. Now, gas, because they do not have intermolecular bonds and do move at high speeds.
Okay, so we're just going to ignore everything that idiot just said and turn it over to Rider of Dinosaurs for a few moments.
Thanks, Steam Skeptic.
Thank you.
Let's look at these two sentences and see what's happening here. Let's start with the first one. Even though liquids, water, and gases are arbitrarily classified as fluid, liquids are not gases. Wow! So much wrong in one sentence. Where to start? Why are water and gases capitalized? It doesn't make any sense. You should only capitalize the first word of a sentence, people's names, and proper nouns like cities, countries, companies, religions, or whatever. Water and gases are definitely not one of those. Oh, JM. But there's more. That's not how you spell arbitrarily. Really. Get a spell checker.
Oh my
And
God,
watch
yeah,
for the
you did
missing
make it
comma
wrong.
between fluid and liquids. Do you really think it should read classified as fluid, liquids are not gases? Or should it read as classified as fluid, liquids are not gases? So put a comma between fluid and liquids. Oh, and by the way, finish the sentence with a period, also known as full stop in the United Kingdom. I know what everyone is thinking. I'm being pedantic. Why do you ask? Well, once JM said this.
I have a scholar's background. Not that I even like talking about it, and I had to put it on my website because of the debate and discussion over this, but I have a Master's of Science degree, so I've done my research. I did my master's degree in 1 year. I got a 3.75 GPA. I have dismantled all of both Newton's and Einstein's theories.
Now, since we finished with the first sentence, let's move on to the next one. Water pressure still requires a container. However, it does not have to be a sealed container because water is made of H2O molecules that have intermolecular bonds, i.e., they do not move freely at high speeds.
Wait a minute. The editor in me is even cringing at that sentence. Whoever? Try maybe a however. For starters, but we have a writer of dinosaurs who's doing the English, so I'll let him have fun.
Whoa, that was like running a marathon. Let's see how many we can find this time. Pressure. Again, capitalizing a word that should not be capitalized for the reasons stated before.
1.
The comma after container in red. It should be a full stop, period, for you Americans.
2.
Now this next one really baffles me. Whoever? Really? I guess you meant to say however. Next, we have a
3.
really long run-on sentence. But if we add a comma after sealed container,
4.
it starts to look a lot better, right? Next, we have the intermolecular bonds. 2 more words that are capitalized that shouldn't be. Again, to make sense of things,
5,
a
6.
comma is also necessary after the word bonds.
7.
And finally, we have I. It should be I, full stop, E, full stop, not I, full stop.
8.
With that makes 13. 13 mistakes in a single slide. I can't even.
Team, would you be kind and ding that bell 13 times for the idiot?
Because GM, you're a fallacious guy. You thought I was going to say it, didn't you? No, because JM, you're a bloody idiot.
Thank you.
So here's the $1 million question, folks. How do we have a gas pressure, also known as atmospheric pressure, here on Earth?
Also known as you are making bullshit up because they are not the same thing.
If, in fact, we're on a spinning ball.
The fact that the Earth is spinning has nothing to do with the need for a container. You know, because of gravity and shit. And you earned yourself another dinger for conflating atmospheric pressure with gas pressure once again. Because JM Truth, you're an idiot.
You are a ding.
Stop. Let me ask that a different way. Where's the lid to the container in which we live?
No, the correct term would have been stop, I'm stupid, I'm leaving now.
Now, I've got the answer for you. Some of you are not going to like this, but that's okay. I never said you'd like it. I simply said it would be the truth.
The truth is,
stop
every
littering.
time you throw your shit on the ground, you prove more and more that you actually deserve the Dumb Fuck of the Year award. and it's becoming a common theme on YouTube for channels with the word truth in their title to be hardly interested in any actual truth whatsoever. Now, I think it's time we move past his limited understanding of gas and atmospheric pressure and see what else this idiot gets wrong.
So I don't know. Is there other?
What the JM, did you just all of a sudden change the lighting? Because the lighting in this clip is completely different than the lighting in the rest of your video. Maybe this is something they taught him in film production school, or maybe JM Truth just threw all the education out because it was indoctrination, and he decided to do it his way. You know, the way of the idiot.
Planetoid forms or other things that NASA's told us that are gaseous, spherical places that we're told really exist, like most of the planets, I guess, in our solar system. How are they even existing without a container?
Because
Wait a minute. How do we even have planets then if you think this is a flat Earth and a dome? But James Truth, I mean, well, he is an idiot, but Skeptic, I think you had a different point you wanted to critique the fucker on.
planets, or planetoid forms as you called them, don't need a container to exist, you moron. The stupid is strong with this idiot. But we haven't got to our pot of gold yet, so let's continue.
In fact, now that I think about it, the sun, we're told, is a big gaseous ball burning in space in a vacuum.
And now we have reached our pot of gold.
By the way, since we're on the subject of vacuums, fire, the element by which the sun exerts its energy,
JM Truth,
You're
you
an
may
idiot.
just be the dumbest flat earther ever. First, the sun doesn't burn. It essentially glows. And second, fire isn't an element, and the sun isn't on fucking fire. You are an idiot.
Ding!
and I don't care if it's nuclear fission or what, it's still fire.
The
Thank
sun
you
isn't
for
on
it.
fire, you idiot. And it's nuclear fusion, not nuclear fission.
Needs what element, folks, in order to continue to burn? Oxygen. But wait, there's no oxygen in space. How is it burning?
I thought you said you were a physicist. Sounds to me like you're a Dunning-Kruger idiot. Because the sun isn't on fire, so it doesn't need oxygen to burn. As hydrogen fuses into helium, it loses a tiny bit of mass. And that mass is converted into energy via the Einsteinian equation E equals mc squared. And that's how the sun produces light, by the photons that are emitted during the process of nuclear fusion.
So here's my hypothesis, which technically is all it can be because there's no way NASA or anyone else has ever studied the sun.
Oh, please. Humor us. What, Bernie Telly, is your big brain deal about the nice ball of sunlight that actually, lets us all live on a daily basis?
Because there's no way to get close enough to it.
That's not something that an actual physicist would say, but it is in line with the uneducated ramblings of a Dunning-Kruger idiot. Are you under the impression that we have to actually be able to touch the sun to be able to study it? Well, that's just incorrect. And here are a few facts about the sun that we know from observation alone. With spectroscopy, we can determine what elements make up the sun and what percentage of each element makes up the sun. Also with spectroscopy, we find evidence to support Einstein's general theory of relativity by measuring the gravitational redshift of photons leaving the surface of the sun. We can directly measure the energy output from the sun, and around 2014, science confirmed that the sun's energy output has essentially been the same for the past 100,000 years. Yeah, science is cool.
Okay? But my hypothesis, it's not a ball of gas. It's also probably not 93 million miles away. Because light doesn't travel forever, folks.
Light doesn't travel forever? Are you fucking kidding me right now, JM? Again, this is not something that an actual physicist would say, because an actual physicist would know that photons travel at a constant rate of about 300,000 kilometers per second, also known as c, which stands for constant, which means it doesn't change ever. It doesn't slow down, it doesn't stop, and you're an idiot.
Ding.
Since we're talking about vacuums, how do you have a vacuum that's not in a container?
How do you have a vacuum without a container? What does that even mean? At this point, I'm having trouble figuring out what the stupidest thing you've said in this video was.
Again, gas. The negative side of that, or the opposite side of that, would also be negative gas, or a vacuum. Okay?
Negative gas. Oh, thank God I have a partner here helping critique this, or I'd probably have lost my sanity by now. Idiot was speaking. You may, I guess, continue to be an idiot.
Also would need to be held in a container.
And just when I thought there was no topping the stupid, you go and prove me wrong again. Bravo, JM. Bra-fucking-O. So now, the vacuum of space is negative gas. And that's why we need a container. Keep in mind, this is the idiot that said 10 to the negative 17 torr was negative pressure.
Hey, just in case I was wrong, JM, is space a negative pressure system?
Absolutely is.
No.
Okay,
it's
all right,
not.
great. I was just making sure.
We'll talk about that.
17 negative torr is absolutely negative.
No. Hold on. That's not what he said, is it, Nathan? Say what you said about the.
He said
what's
it
the vacuum?
was a negative pressure system.
No.
Shut
I
up.
didn't say it was negative 17 torr. What did you say it was, Nathan?
The whole time I've been saying
10
space
to the negative
allegedly,
17. Hold on. You said
Yeah,
10 to the negative 17. 10 to the negative 17. 10 to the negative 17th is a positive number, guys.
That doesn't mean negative. That's a positive number.
That's 0.0 with 17 zeros.
All right. We'll discuss this later.
Yeah.
Yeah, in other words, because you're wrong.
represent a negative pressure. So
Correct.
it's a positive number.
That doesn't make sense.
That's correct. If we go to a laboratory and look at a vacuum, we can only create a vacuum in a container. Yet we're told that on this Earth, all this oxygen stays here on Earth by gravity. But there is no gravity.
Then why do we have an atmospheric pressure gradient, JM? And why do all accelerometers read about 10 meters per second squared towards the ground, JM? And for the love of Jeebus, why do you and almost everything else on this Earth accelerate towards the ground in freefall at that exact same rate?
Hey, do not bring Jeebus into this. What did he do to you?
Desert File, would you please politely explain to JM why this happens?
Again, for those of you using headphones, please remove them from your ears. Now you have a 3-second warning. 1, 2, 3.
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
JM,
Alright, you may put them back in.
truth, you are an idiot.
And I've just shown you that you can't have a gas pressure without a container. So all the pseudoscience that we've been taught, folks,
And I know what you guys are thinking. That I, Team Skeptic, in an effort to make James Truth look dumber than he already does, edited that video to make it look that unprofessional. Because
No.
it's he, not I, that has a bachelor's degree in film production and is outstanding in his field. So there's no possible way that he could have made that clip look that bad, right? Wrong. Because you forgot that JM Truth is an idiot. And that edit comes from his original video, which will be linked in the description.
that having been said, that ends my class for today.
More littering by the idiot. Now I'd like to take the time out to
And that is where we are going to leave him. But I had to put that one in just because it had the original proof that he thought that a negative exponent meant that the number was automatically negative. Which, of course, It's not. Alright, so let's finish up the fight here. As we are over our lovely 1 hour point, so we can finish off today's episode. As you see, we have definitely had one character get promoted in our lovely fight. And 4 characters, well, 4 points more being knocked off on the promotion list over on the right of the number of items needed to promote those characters up to their next promotional level. We now have a handful at that purple +3, rating just 1 away from going orange. So with that being said, of course, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and get Boxy to pay attention to us by getting us to 5,000 views. YouTube pays attention to us at 1,000 subscribers. Of course, Coinbase is below. I won't go ahead and bore you with the read, but just go ahead if you want to get your free crypto to make purchases in Dominion. Follow the steps below there. And we'll be back later tonight, of course, with Midnight in the Desert, Part 2 of the Superpower line. Until then, it's always a great new world to release the Krakens. Have a great night, and of course, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe.